Okay, hello and welcome. My name's Sally and I'll be guiding you through the next 20 minutes or so. And the practice I'm offering today is a body scan, but we will be using some movement, some curious and attentive movement with the body. And really all that you'll need is yourself and a comfortable place to practice. I happen to be using a yoga mat, but that's not necessary. So whatever space you have, where you can be. And we'll start in a lying down position. I'm going to come to join you. And throughout the practice, do follow along to my voice, and you can always peek up if you're not sure at the screen. And come to find a position where you can comfortably be with the soles of the feet on the ground and the knees facing upwards. And for you, for your practice, it could be that your feet open a little wider than the hips and the knees come in towards each other. And maybe before we settle in, you have a moment just to look around you and to notice the space that you're in. You might notice some sounds too. It could even be that some of the other senses are involved. Things you can smell. And then beginning to get a sense of how the body is as it meets the earth. So what is your body's relationship with gravity? And you might in your head start to name the parts of contact you find. The soles of the feet, the shoulders, the back of the head, and noticing these parts of the body that connect you with the earth below. And as you notice these parts of the body, it might be that you start to get a sense of the rising and falling sensation. The rising and falling. And of course, I'm talking about the breath. And maybe you just notice it for a few moments. You don't have to change it. You don't have to worry about it, but just knowing that it's there, supporting your practice, just as the earth supports the body. And so we'll begin a little investigation. When the time's right for you, let your right leg kick up towards the ceiling or towards the sky, depending on where you're practicing. The knee can be extended. You might have a little bend in the knee. And start simply to point and to flex the toes, pointing them away, flexing them in towards you. And you might start to notice that it's not just the toes that are moving. If, like me, you're not wearing socks, you might have a sense of how the bones are moving in the feet. You might see how the muscles move. Simply pointing and flexing. And then what if you started to make some rotations with the ankle? How does it feel when you roll one way? How does it feel when you roll the other way? And you might hear some sounds here. There certainly can. Again, you might see the parts of the feet or higher up the leg that have some movement. And now pause the movement in the ankle and start to make some circles with the hip. It's almost as if your big toe is a paintbrush and you're drawing shapes. And it might just not be circles that you make, perhaps it's scribbles or spirals. You might even write your signature. But however you move, moving perhaps with a sense of curiosity. And now pausing the movement in the right leg, gently bending the knee and returning the right foot to the ground. And taking a pause here just to notice. Do the sides of the body feel any different? And if they don't, that's absolutely a valid exploration, a valid insight. Noticing what changes and what doesn't. And now, as you're ready, let your left leg kick up and away towards the ceiling. Again, you can have a bend in the knee. You might prefer to let the leg be a bit longer. And start to point and flex the toes. Toes coming towards you and then toes coming away. And perhaps getting that felt sense of what moves, what remains still. You might also use your eyes just to see, how are my bones moving? And then starting to make some circles with the ankle. Rolling one way and the other way. And how are these shapes felt within the rest of the body? Is there ever just one thing that's being moved? Okay, let's take a pause with the movements in the ankle and start to create those little circles with the hip. And I say circles, but you could make any shapes that you'd like to make. Your signature. You might even imagine that you are painting with a colour and redecorating whatever surroundings are around you. What moves and what stays still. Beginning to pause these movements, taking a bend in the left knee and replacing the left foot down on the ground. And settling for a moment here. If they're not already, it might be that you place the hands somewhere on the body. And maybe you return to this sense of rising and falling. Rising and falling. In a moment, please allow the feet to move a little bit wider than hip distance apart. And if they're on the body, perhaps the hands come out to the sides, the backs of the hands on the ground. Begin to make some little movements with the knees from side to side. And I say the knees, but maybe you get the sense that it's the feet initiating the movement. Maybe you notice how the pelvis moves, or how the parts of the spine move too. So everything's involved. What's moving and what's staying still. And this could be a movement that you really slow down. What changes if you slow it down? And what if you were to speed it up again? Your experience, your body, your choice. Begin to let your knees come back in towards the middle. And this time bring your knees in towards the chest, one or both at a time. With your two knees in towards you, begin to make some little movements from side to side. So this time the feet are off of the ground. You might like keeping your hands as they are beside the body, or they might come onto the knees here. Any shapes are welcome. Any shapes that invite a sense of curiosity. You don't need to move the knees at the same time. They might go in opposite directions. And then starting to pause the movements. Once again, letting the soles of the feet come back down onto the ground. And again, take a moment. Let the body find the ground. And now moving up, let your fingers reach up towards the sky. So palms face in towards each other. But imagine that your shoulder blades are sinking down into a bank of sand or maybe some muddy grass underneath you. So that sense of drawing down. And now let them lift, let the fingers reach up towards the ceiling. Everything elevates. And then slowly sink it back down. And carrying on with these movements, the rising and the falling of the body. Okay, whenever it is for you, the next time that your shoulders sink back down towards the ground, allow your palms to face forwards, and like you're moving through water, let them begin the journey back down beside the body. And eventually the palms of the hands will land back down. Again, take a moment or two to settle, to notice whatever it is you're noticing. Just a little movement with the head. Please allow your right ear to come down towards the ground. Little movement at the head. Comes back in towards the middle. Then please bring your left ear down towards the ground. Allow the head to come back in towards the middle, back in towards the centre. From here, allow the legs to kick up towards the ceiling, both of them this time. And the same with the hands. And you can begin to make some movements, maybe some circles with the wrists and with the ankles. I often like to imagine some kind of jellyfish here. Maybe you have a bend in the elbows and you extend one leg and then the other one. And you can go slow. Maybe you imagine that you're cycling or that you're climbing, treading water. Perhaps you'd like to move a little faster. Maybe you're more like a child having a tantrum. You want to kick the legs a little and shake the hands. So moving in your way with the whole body. And now, whenever the time's right for you, let your knees squeeze in towards you. And you can let the hands come on top of the knees and really squeeze it in. You might even lift the head. To give one last squeeze. And then letting it go. You can let the legs be long. The palms can face upwards towards the ceiling. And we'll spend just a few moments just here. Allowing the entire body just to be as it is. Beginning to come back to the experience of the body on the earth beneath you. And what are the parts of the body that have contact with the ground? Can you come back to that sense of the rising and the falling? The movement in the body, even when you're still. You can start to create some of your own movements. Maybe that's a little movement at the fingertips or toes. You might prefer to have a long body stretch with the hands stretching away from the feet. Maybe the knees come in towards you. Making the movements that best suit you. In time we'll meet in seated. On the way you might like to roll over onto one side and let the ground carry your weight. And eventually coming to join me in a comfortable seat. And please do let it be comfortable. So if you need to shake or shuffle to get there, do what suits you best. And let your two hands come towards the center of your chest. And just notice what you notice here. It could be the touch of your hands. It might be the flow of the breath or the rhythm of your heartbeat. Thank you for coming along to join me. Thank you.